So we have something in common, which is that we both sent our kids to Waldorf schools in grade school. So Waldorf, for people who don't know, it's a German European educational system that's very famous for emphasizing creativity, visual, literary arts over what we traditionally call STEM skills. So I'm curious, like, do you have as a someone who's been immersed in that world, any observation about kind of the interplay of non-technical creativity and how that adds up to better performance over time in technical disciplines, having kind of bridged both those worlds?
Yeah, you got me on this one with the Waldorf dad, commentary. You fished that up probably from my LinkedIn profile, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is about the intersection between a non-technical. I would say, if you are in the, we took my wife and I took a very conscious decision in pursuing a non-traditional educational academic track for our children, right? Just like yourself. And the thought behind is quite simply that there are we live in this over personalized, hyper intelligent AI society where we can build machines and build models and take a vehicle from West Coast US to East Coast US 5,000 miles without a single accident. We can build rovers that travel 2 years out in space and then pretty much like 99.9% precision land at the very designated spot that Python code had been written months or years before. So technology is everywhere, right? And it's just going to be exponentially, escalate and avalanche in our personal lives. Now, what we find as parents more in the beginning of the children's years to be more relevant in terms of knowledge intake is really developing that right brain skill set, right? So to your point, Chris, right? The artistic, the musical, the touch, the feel, the whole synthesis of different skills and sensors and flavors and environments converging into one single beautiful play. So I think that I think we live in that society where it's very easy as a dad or a mom to just send your kid off to computer science or take applied mathematics or that kind of track or another STEM education. But I think we owe it to our younger generation, pediatric, population, to at least allow them to explore, their artistic, their right brain skills. And then at a certain point, there's no way once they hit 8, 10, 12, 15, whatever, to dive into, and, you just have to buy them an iPhone and off they are, right?
That's it. CJ, I love that answer, and I very much agree. And why is that relevant to our conversation about data? And I think there are two reasons I see, and one you brought up, and then one I'll kind of say in my own language. So you mentioned at the beginning of our discussion the people who get the data thing. They're spread out all over the organization. Some of them are in finance, some of them are in marketing, some of them are in R&D. They come to a discipline that's inherently it's very interdisciplinary, right? It's neither business nor is it IT. It's both at the same time. So there's actually an astonishing degree to which creativity is important and something that needs to be nurtured. Either if you choose to send your kids to Waldorf school or not, that's something that we can actually cultivate in our teams. As an aside, my undergraduate degree is in philosophy, right? I did do a bunch of math, but I'm like I'm a classical sort of liberal arts education person, and then I later came to do all this technology stuff. The second point, and this is sort of my rephrasing in my language, you were talking about like, the Mars rover and all these things that we design and how we can design any technical outcome. But again, back to, decades of doing change enabled by IT, you always end up in this moment where people are saying, can the technology do this? Which is never the right question. The right question is always, should the technology do this?
Yep.
So if we lose the creative aspect of that, then we abrogate our own ability to sort of keep our hand on the steering wheel of where all this technology is going. And with everything that's going on in the world with artificial intelligence and the increasing role of algorithms in our life. I was just intrigued by that, and I really appreciate your answer and your willingness to go sort of what seemed off topic, but I think it's actually not. I think it's actually a very important thing for data and technology leaders to think about. How do we maintain our hand on the steering wheel on that kind of spark of creativity?
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Chris. I mean, it's. Again, as I said, it's easy to just jump onto the bandwagon, right? The technology bandwagon, and you give an iPhone to a 6-year-old, and you just know by looking at the statistics that this child could pretty much be gone for 15, 20 hours a day, and touching that device 6,300 times and doing 180 pickups per day, and you multiply that by another 10, 15 years. What does that do to our society? So I think this is a moment in time that is really, really critical, that we are at least once in a while taking a step back. And certainly I will take a step back, with my upcoming vacation now in Italy, which we're very much looking forward to. And it will be a stepping back to the 20th century, turning off your iPhone, disconnecting, digitally detoxing, and taking a harder look and reflecting on your life and the future, right? So, it's a good discussion, good observations.
Absolutely. And so we'll close. We started with the big why in an organizational context and ended on it in, sort of a personal and human context. So I think that's wonderful. CJ, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I hope you enjoy the Italy vacation. It sounds awesome, and the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for having me today and sharing a few thoughts.